about your business and how career coaching, resume writing is changing and what that means for your business and for your clients. So, are there more coaches today than there have ever been before? I'm seeing this a lot, and we're getting that scarcity mindset around, are there more coaches today, more people in career coaching? Is the market crowded? And what does that mean for me? Well, if you look at some of the data, so in 2020, the International Coach Federation put out some data around the growth in coaching, 33% more people in coaching between 2015 and 2019, and that growth is large, right? So when we look at that growth in coaching, what does that mean? What does that tell us? Well, people don't go into coaching just for the fun of it, right? They go into coaching because there's also increased demand. There's increased demand for coaching. You're seeing more individuals access coaching. You're seeing more companies paying for coaching, especially during COVID. And that was even after 2020, right after that research was done. So the growth in coaching is, yes, because people want more meaningful work, but it's also in direct response to an increase in demand for coaching. So don't let that data scare you that because there are more coaches, does that mean that there's less business for me? How do we make sure that we can carve out an opportunity to connect with our ideal clients, the people we want to help, and the people who need help from us? This is one of our foundational tenets of personal branding, to understand who you are and what the unique promise of value is that you deliver. Because when you can do that and understand who your audience is, then you can connect the dots and no one can compete with you, right? No one can compete with you when you are sticking true to your unique promise of value and how that connects with the needs of your audience. The challenge for most people is that they don't go deep enough when they're thinking about how to market their business, how to generate leads, because they're caught up in the tactics, right? What do I do on social media? What do I post? How do I get there? That is not really what's going to move the needle for you. Just like our clients, right? When we talk to our clients, what is going to move the needle isn't a job search strategy. They've read about that. They can read it online. It's digging deeper and really understanding what are the concerns, what are the ways they connect with their audience. And the same is true for us. So I'm going to talk about this process and how you can walk through. It's a great time, the end of the year, to reconnect with who you are in your profession and how you connect with the people that you want to help. Start with your credible content. Now, we're not talking content generation, but that's what I call it because Zone of Genius was already taken, right? And I think Zone of Genius can be a little bit off-putting for people. Genius, one of my 6-year-old called me a genius the other day. I thought, oh, that's probably the only time I'll get called that word, right? It's a little bit, it can be a little intimidating. So I just call it your credible content. Credible because it is something that you have the ability to share with people, that you either have training or experience or expertise in some way that you bring to the conversation. This is a thing people can confide and trust in you. And this is, one little way that you'll stand out from other people in the coaching field. If you really think about, how do I bring my credibility to this arena? And then you think about some of the story pieces that go along with that. Where did this come from? How did you develop that? What is your specific area of expertise there? And then what is your opinion? And where did that come from? Because there's usually a story behind why we believe what we believe around career work. So dig into that piece of your credible content. What is it that you want to deliver, that you delight in delivering? And how does that connect to your expertise? A lot of people don't make that connection, especially if they transition into coaching. They don't make the connection. They don't bring that wealth of experience along with them when they start talking about their coaching specific practice. So, what is that credible content that you bring? Then we think about what is your audience needs. So, what are they looking for? What are they asking about? One of my favorite questions is, what are they asking Google that they should be asking you? Right? What are they asking about? What are they looking for? What are their answers? And sometimes that are their questions. Sometimes that's kind of surface level. So then we want to dig deeper. What is it that they're really needing? What are they really afraid of? What is it that would really transform their journey in whatever area it is that you're connecting with them on? So if it's resume writing, what is the challenge? What's the problem? And what's the hope? What do they wish for from their resume? Because it isn't about a resume, right? It's about confidence. It's about the language. It's about connecting and making sure that they have all of the pieces together is the surface level problem. Underneath, it's really, how do I tell my story? How do I demonstrate that I'm qualified? How do I make sure that they see how I'm different? There's a lot of deeper questions there underneath the kind of tactical deliverable of the resume. And I know that the internet is all abuzz right now about the new AI system that can help you write your resume. It will never help people do that. It will never help them connect to their story. In fact, one of my concerns about it is that it spits out stories that sound good, but they may not be your story. If you're using those systems, great, use them. Be careful that you edit those stories to match your specific details, but they aren't going to be able to do that for a really long time, if ever, right? They're the starting point, they're the building blocks. But people need to be able to tell their individual stories, not just that the resume is truthful, but that it's powerful and it connects to their confidence, right? It connects to the internal connection of who they are and the value that they bring to the world. You can't AI that, right? So that's what we bring to people, that they get their stories to come alive in their resume, that they get to understand what stories are most important and how do they communicate that, all this deeper stuff. And even we're talking about career transition, it's a deeper process to start with, but it isn't the career goal. It isn't to, find a new career. It's, what are they looking for underneath that? Is it meaning? Is it flexibility? Is it more money? And then taking it even a deeper level to that, what will that bring to their life? And these are the questions that we can be having with prospects that we can start to understand. And in some ways, that we can even have conversations around that on certain social media channels so that you get an understanding of what is the language people are using to talk about their desires, to talk about their deepest wishes. Because when we tap into that, and we connect our credible content to those audience desires, then it's unique, it's compelling, it's attractive, right? It's magnetic. People say, "Yes, that's what I want." And that's what you wanna create in your conversations, in your marketing content, but you can't do that if you don't take the deep dive and figure those 2 pieces out first. They sound easy, they sound like, kinda duh, but they take time. What is your content? What is the story behind that? How does it connect to who you are as a person? Because no one can duplicate that. And then what is your audience wanting? And how did those two things come together where your credible content and your story and your way of doing things aligns with their vision, their desires, their hopes for their future, and yes, their pains of where they are right now. When you find that place, no one else will occupy that space. This is the power of understanding how you and only you can help people. And the right people will find that only you can help them, right? And that is, the whole idea of a niche, and we kind of talk about that a lot. It really is even deeper than that, of connecting with those pains and desires and hopes that people bring beyond the products that you sell or the services that you deliver. So as you're thinking about this for your marketing for 2023 or whatever it might be, the other thing that diving deep in these areas really helps you do is that one, now you got a content plan, right? You got your credible content, it's mapped out there. These are the things that people come to you for. Here's your story about why you do that, your opinion on that, where it comes from. You've got all of this great content to share. And two, now that you've dove in deep to your audience and what they're really looking for and what they need, you have the places that you can connect with them and maybe even some new conversations that you've started as you started to do that research. When you put those two pieces together, then it flows into kind of the traditional marketing or lead generation plan that we're used to, but now it has a whole lot more depth and it's going to connect better to those clients that really need to know you. So if you're here and you're joining in, drop me a note, let me know if this is connecting. What do you think is going to help you in 2023 help more of the people that you want to bring into your practice and into your community? And how can you do that in a way that fills your cup? The other thing I love about when we really start to think about this, and we call it personal brand, when we really start to think about what it is that we do, who we are, and who we add value for, and in what way, it's also a more life-giving force. I think Marcia Wald talked last week when we were talking about our 2023 marketing plan by your strengths. She said, it comes with joy. And it really should come with joy because if you've thought about what problems you want to offer that credible content, or what problems you want to solve, that credible content, the offers you want to offer, then those pieces are inherent, they're integrated, they're authentic for you. And so there's not a push, there's not a try, there's just a do, right? There's just an authentic flowing energy that comes from what you do. And when you really dive deep and think about what your opinion is and what your vision is and where that comes from, it also brings with it an inherent confidence because now you know that you're the only person that can tell that story. You're the only person that could help people in that way. That doesn't mean you're better than everyone else, right? Different is better than better. That you're sharing your differences and that they're really connected to your story and to who you are. That's attractive. So now we don't have to feel pushy. We don't have to, push, push, push. It's more about telling that story that connects and brings your audience in, the right audience, the people that really will connect to your story. Now, if you're thinking, well, what if enough people don't connect with my story? Then you got to research the audience side more. What is important to them? What are their pains? What are their successes that they're looking for? And you might have to dig deeper into your story or emphasize different facets of it to connect with that audience. It's not making it inauthentic or fabricating, but it is thinking about what parts of my story will most connect to that audience that I'm looking for. And you really don't need a large audience. Contrary to popular belief, I have someone in my DMs in LinkedIn right now talking to me about, do you know the 1,000 true fans? Yes. And 1,000 true fans is great. It talks about how if you have 1,000 people that are really your true advocates and true fans, you can have this great business. You don't even need that. If you had 50 true fans for your especially solopreneur independent practice, you would probably have more business than you could handle. If you had 50 true fans that were really engaged in advocating for your business, most of you are probably pretty close to that. Some of you have more. I haven't sat down and run the numbers, but I would say that, Career Thought Leaders does very well without maybe getting to that 1,000 true fans yet. I don't know. So thinking about that number, find something that works for you. Look at what you think your number is now and how could you grow it by 15, 25% next year. And what does that look like? How could you get talking to more people that need what you do? Where are they? Where are they having conversations, and where could you connect with them? So, I want to dispel some myths around the whole six-figure business thing. So, Angela Watts started a post a few days ago talking about how she hates that language, the six-figure business, and there was some more nuance there, but the lead generation, but it's a topic that we talk about. I totally agree that our clients aren't leads, right? They're people that we want to help. And I like to talk about it in terms of community, people that you bring into your community, because that is truly what we want, right? We want people that we are building relationships with, and that maybe in some ways can even offer an opportunity for them to build relationships with each other. So I take particular challenge with the six-figure business thing, especially in the coaching and resume writing businesses, because it's always a false promise and not enough detail, that we might be chasing something that, one, perhaps we don't need, two, maybe doesn't exist, three, might not align with how we want to operate, and I don't know, maybe there's a fourth. So here's the thing. When you think about a six-figure business, there's a lot of different ways that you could get there. How much you charge. Then you got to think, do I have enough people in my pool that could charge that? Is my brand at that level where people expect that, people will pay that, etc.? Totally doable. I know solopreneurs that don't work ton of crazy hours, charge high prices, and make six figures. The other thing is, how many hours are they working? So I know several resume writers, especially, who do make six figures, solopreneurs, but they work a lot of hours. Is that right for you or not? Third thing, do you really need to make six figures? I don't know. Sit down and look at your finances, right? What does that look like for you? And how does it play out in how many hours you'd work, how much you would charge, and does that fit with your market, with what you want to do? The other thing that often is a part of this that people don't talk about, drives me crazy, is what is their expenses side? Because it really doesn't matter how much money you bring in, it's how much money do you keep? Do you have to feed your family, pay your mortgage, whatever it might be that you need and want to do in your life? And they don't ever talk about that. What's their marketing expenses? How many contractors or employees do they have? What's their ad spend? And when you look at some of these businesses, and especially some of the services that sell you on building a six-figure business, you've got to figure that in. What's their coaching fee? Not that it's not worth it, but it's going to impact your profitability. Are they talking about ads? What's the cost there? Are there other contractors that they would bring in, and what's that cost? And beyond the cost, is that what you want? Some of us want to run a business where we have a team, we have contractors, writers, assistants, coaches, whatever that might be. Some of us don't. Both business models are valid. It's all about figuring out what you want and what works for you, and then thinking about the profitability instead of perhaps the top line revenue. Because a lot of those business, some even bringing in seven figures, the person that runs it may not take any more home than the solopreneur resume writer who doesn't have all of that. What do you want in your business? And how is it going to build what you look forward to and help the people you want to help? If you have a big business with contractors and coaches and all of that, you're going to help more people. That's great if it works for you. Otherwise, you'll be burned out, stressed out, and it won't last real long, right? So I don't want us to feel that pressure. And I really despise the new year, new you phrase. I guarantee you it'll be the same you going into 2023. You can plan, you can set goals, you can change your habits, and that's all great, but you are awesome as you are. You don't need a new you, right? So figure out where you want to go and what fits for you and your lifestyle and what you're looking for out of your business and to help the people that you want to help. And then, overdone cliche, you do you, right? You do what you want to do to get your business where you want to go. And any strategy you choose, I have seen to be successful if you choose it and execute it the way that you want to execute it. And of course, in a way that helps your clients and delivers the value that you're promising them when you go back to the very first thing that we talked about, connecting your credible content to the unique promise of value that you offer your specific audience. We're doing a class tomorrow on how to create a workshop or a course. So if you are wanting to help more people and perhaps explore getting out of the one-to-one model, I will also tell you there's no such thing as passive income. It's simply that you'll be spending your time doing something else, creating course, marketing a course. It's great. It's lovely. Still not passive. So thinking about how you might want to build your business, if you want to dip your toe in that water, you can join us tomorrow or you can get the workshop at any time. We're going to walk you through choosing an offer, choosing course content, designing your course, a little bit on the marketing messaging piece, and then a little bit on the tech piece. How are you going to deliver this from, low tech, no cost? There are low tech, no cost options to high tech, automated, everything you might want to do with the bells and whistles there. We are going to be here next Tuesday and be talking about the 2023 trends because our white paper release is coming up on January 10th. We will take the 27th off. Is that the 27th? Might be the 28th. Anyway, take that off. So we won't see you that day, but we will be back on the 3rd. So I'll see you next week. If you have any thoughts or questions or things we should cover with related to 2023 trends, let me know. Thank you, everyone.